Welcome to another planetary allegory through astrological divination. I'm on vacation right now, but inspiration's stuck as I'm bouncing around with my little mermaid, making dinglehopper hair in different states. Today's video is called Dantilion's Scrying-Glass of Inversion. Stars decree, the covenant demands. In whispers we govern, through the elements we obscure, in static we command. In nightmares we pursue. We are earth and air, we are fire and water. We are the remembered, we are the returned, we are the whispers. In silence we thrive. With Saturn sextile Uranus in the 8th, we've got Dantilion's karmic reflection. This is suggesting a profound and effortless process of karmic resolution and rebirth achieved through deep, unconventional psychological and financial transformations. This process is connected to the hidden spiritual forces and insight in the 8th house, evoking the wisdom and command over spirits associated with King Solomon and the unique, multifaceted nature of Duke Dantilion. Now, the phrase Dantilion's karmic reflection synthesizes these principles into a narrative of spiritual growth and karmic mastery. We've got Dantilion's multitude of faces. Duke Dantilion is the 71st spirit of the Goetia. He's described as appearing with many countenances and knowing the secret thoughts of others. This symbolizes the multifaceted nature of the psyche, which is the 8th house, that the individual must confront. Now, the spirit of Solomon here is going to represent mastery of the inner psychological realm where one gains command over their demons, the different faces of their subconscious, if you will. Now, Solomon's command over spirits is significant here. King Solomon is a renowned occultist with occult tradition for his command over the 72 spirits of the Goetia, including Dantilion. In this context, it suggests that the individual possesses a latent spiritual authority, which is the ability to control and direct the subconscious forces that govern their karmic patterns. The powers come from a calm understanding rather than forceful summoning. It's like a layer of respect that a lot of practitioners lack when they're conjuring up spirits, not understanding spiritual hierarchy, and that sometimes we're conjuring up these things and sending them to their literal master. Now, the karmic reflection here in the 8th house, this is associated with reflective surfaces and mirrors in the occult. This is representing deep truths that emerge from the subconscious. The karmic reflection is a process where the lessons and debts of one's past or ancestral or from previous lives are brought to the surface to be consciously addressed. The individual can look into the mirror of their deepest self and see the patterns that need to be resolved, not with fear, but with the intent to gain insight. With Uranus's innovative integration here, the brilliant disruptive insights of Uranus provide the keys to unlocking and harmonizing the complex karmic patterns that are revealed through Saturn. Now, the sextile here is going to ensure that this integration of traditional wisdom, being Saturn, with revolutionary insight, Uranus, feels natural and aligned with the personal evolution. The wisdom of the psychic mastery, though, an individual in this configuration is going to be on a destined path to become a master of their own psyche and karmic destiny. The path involves smooth flowing, integrated, deep-seated fears and inherited traumas, being Saturn in the 8th, with innovative psychological and spiritual breakthroughs, which are Uranus. By consciously engaging with the karmic reflection of their inner world, they developed a spiritual authority of a King Solomon, gaining wisdom and command over their subconscious spirits, if you will, and guiding them towards transformative results and resolution. Being the true king of the legions, it basically leads you to a perspective where you realize that only the true king of the legions are going to be served by the demons that are conjured. Don't matter where you're at, who you're connected to, or what money or power you think you have. Some of these things have pre-existing contracts and soul destinies that predate most lineages. We got Saturn conjunct Neptune in the ninth with the architect's broken image. This speaks to a profound disillusioning and ultimately reconstructive spiritual crisis. In this context, the individual's long-held philosophical framework, their architecture's image of reality, is broken down, revealing to structures built on faulty or illusory foundations. Now, the phrase "the architect's broken image" speaks to a core event in a person's spiritual journey. We've got shattered philosophy, which is the architect's image. This is the philosophical and religious structure the individual has built for themselves. When Saturn and Neptune converge in the ninth house, this image is shattered, kind of like the glass in the mirror. The person may experience a deep and unsettling disillusionment with their formerly unshakable beliefs, leaving them feeling lost and without a spiritual anchor. This is where we begin to build on sand. Now, the conjunction reveals that the individual's carefully constructed beliefs were built on Neptune's elusive sand. It's not a steady foundation, rather than a solid foundation which is grounded and on top of solid soil. Now, the once clear lines of the spiritual path become foggy, and their previously held truths feel like a little bit more like fantasy. This can happen through an encounter with a false guru, a painful travel experience, like going on vacation with somebody that takes care of you and then they give you the boot because they realize you're a shit show. Painful travel experience, or simply the internal collapse of a naive idealism. Now, the crisis as a catalyst here, while this process is painful, it is also highly transformative. The broken image is a necessary step towards building a more authentic and robust spiritual foundation. By yielding control through Saturn and allowing old structures to dissolve via Neptune, the individual is prepared for a more embodied and truthful spiritual understanding of the self, leading to reconstruction of a new, more authentic vision. Now, after the initial shock, the individual can begin the work of the rebuilding. This new structure is grounded in reality, which is Saturn, while being informed by genuine spiritual insight through Neptune. The person may be called to integrate their spiritual understanding with a sense of intellectual integrity and advocate for a more authentic truth. This is where we go from the journey of the delusion to the journey of the depth. Now, ultimately, the architecture's broken image, it's not a curse. I mean, it can be if you look at it as a curse, but it's more or less like a wake-up call. It forces an end to spiritual escapism and dogmatic thinking. By confronting the wreckage of their old beliefs, the individual can rebuild their philosophical and spiritual life on a foundation that is both solid and divinely inspired. The journey is from an image-based, potentially delusional faith to a deeper, more resilient, and truly earned wisdom. We've got Saturn trine Lilith in the 12th as the judge's crooked looking glass. This is suggesting here that we have a complex interplay between structures, repressed emotions, and the subconscious. It's kind of like a group of people that run on a dynamic of, somebody on the lawful side, complex structure, repressed emotions, lawless with their aggressive anger, and the subconscious with their perceived power of their dynamic. Now, the metaphor euphemism of the judge's crooked looking glass suggests a potential dynamic where the individual's subconscious, being the 12th house, acts as a mirror that distorts their perception of justice, being Saturn, influenced by repressed emotions and instincts ran by Lilith. Now, the crooked looking glass could symbolize a skewed perspective where the individual might project their own unacknowledged inner conflicts onto others, perceiving external situations through the lens of their internal struggles, creating a feeling of grandiosity where one feels entitled to speak for all rather than reflecting inwards and not projecting on other people. It's like people who think they're the queen bee and they're just a worker ant. Now, to move beyond this dynamic, an individual might consider conscious self-reflection, examining one's own internal landscape to understand the roots of perceived injustices or conflicts. What are you even fighting for? What is the motive? I guess that's left for discovery. Now, acknowledging repressed emotions, bringing awareness to and processing these repressed feelings, such as anger or resentment, rather than unconsciously acting them out, we can develop healthy boundaries. Establishing clear and constructive boundaries in relationships and life based on self-awareness rather than reactive patterns where we want to go tit for tat and we want to get petty and do silly things that could only end up causing legal issues later down the line because you just can't take no for an answer and can't let go. Really let go, though. Now, astrological interpretations are definitely one way of exploring these potential psychological tendencies. An individual's experiencing can vary greatly. Now, my interpretations, if you do feel they resonate and suggest challenging internal dynamics, seeking guidance from a qualified therapist or counselor or getting 302 can be a valuable step in understanding and working through these patterns here. In other words, if the shoe fits, fucking wear it. But don't deflect and attack other people and involve the world because you're mad and hate life. We're not gonna run narratives on people, do mask what's really going on, and hide the fact that we're menaces to society. We're not doing that no more. We got a stellium through Lilith, Mars, and Mercury in Scorpio as Dantilion's Hexenspiegel's Reckoning. Now, a Hexenspiegel is a German term for a witch's mirror. But for this, the Hexenspiegel is referencing a mirrored back mirror through Dantilion, as if somebody's conjuring up Dantilion to either cause confusion, cause delays, or tap into somebody's thought process to kind of scry where you don't belong. Now, this specific combination suggests a profound and karmically charged destiny involving the mastery of hidden knowledge, psychological power, and the reflection of truth. This combination speaks to a person with an immense and potentially dangerous inner landscape that must be channeled with discipline. Dantilion, the spirit of Solomon here, is a figure from Goetia, as previously stated. He's known for teaching secret knowledge, reading minds, and showing visions of people no matter their location. This is when we really shouldn't misappropriate Dantilion's energy against somebody who might have a higher spiritual authority or ranking than somebody else, or a stronger channeling ability, because then Dantilion's only going to reverse the mirroring. Now, Solomon, we'll call them, represents mastery and wisdom required to command these deep and powerful forces. The individual with the stellium possesses a natural raw ability akin to Dantilion. They know the secret thoughts of others and can deeply influence perception without a huge ritual. It's like operating telepathically on the metaphysical realm. You probably don't want to tiptoe on that landfield because it's only going to backfire. Now, the Hexenspiegel's Reckoning, like I said, it's a traditional witch's mirror used to reflect curses and ward off malevolent intentions. Reckoning here is going to refer to a settling of debts. The title suggests that the individual's profound psychological power is a double-edged sword. Any hex and any malicious psychic reflection directed outward will be reflected back upon them with karmic intensity. So it's like, for a scope of view, if somebody in my audience was trying to hex me and say, I carry the Solomonic anointing and I possess an immense spiritual authority, I would be able to immediately reverse that, acting as a mirror, reflecting a mirror into a mirror, only reversing and amplifying each reflection back and forth until it breaks through the other mirror and slams back, intensified. It's like the laws of three, but on steroids. Now, this is a life defined by the law of magical return. What is sent out is what is received back, and then some. This is where the integrated interpretation comes in. The synthesis of these offers a very complex narrative if you're peaky blinding for the individual of this stellium. Now, a mind like a scrying mirror. The Mercury and Scorpio mind, amplified by Mars determination, is a powerful psychic instrument. It's a Hexenspiegel. It's a German thing. It's capable of perceiving deep truths and psychic realities that others quite literally miss and overlook. It's like being super intuitive and just very sensitive to energies around you. And it's like seeing the natural elements occur as they are. This is a gift and a burden sometimes. Until you learn to balance it. It could be kind of a pain in the ass, I would assume. From what I read, it's a pain in the ass. Now, the individual is natural at reading people and seeing behind masks and uncovering hidden agendas. It's kind of like being a professional programmer that's good at finding bugs and collecting bounties on finding bugs. But apply that logic to bug being a person if you want to use a launch trigger like a workspace API cloud-based algorithm where we're communicating with end-to-end encryption, and the bug would be a person rather than a electronic issue. Now, the primal drive for truth here is going to be Lilith and Mars in Scorpio create a raw primal drive to penetrate the mysteries of life and death, sex, and power. This is the spirit of Dantilion. In its rawest form, it's the drive to understand the core of human thought and motivation. People that want to understand the spirit of Dantilion, typically, after mastering their own thoughts and thought patterns, they're very interested in human thought process and even how other things think and perceive the world, because only then can you pick up on those resonance fields, and then you can figure out how to move the fabric of reality, if you will. It's like an alien comprehending a universe through each individual organic's view of life. The shadow's reflective power in this scenario. The immense power of this stellium is not always going to be benign. When used with ego or unintegrated shadow, it becomes a weapon. If the individual attempts to hex or manipulate their psychic understanding, the karmic reckoning is going to be swift and unavoidable. So this is going to be a play. It's like two people that are on a constant battle where one person doesn't give a shit and doesn't even think about the other person, and the other person spends a lot of money paying people to target this person and puts a lot of time and effort in doing rituals and casting spells and hexing that other person, and the other person is just living life and just doesn't give a shit about anything because the rest of it's irrelevant because their magic don't work anyways. At most, it just gives them diarrhea. And it doesn't even do that anymore. Now, their power here is going to act like a mirror. Any malevolent intent is magnified and it's going to be returned. As I said, what's sent out is only reflected. So while we're misappropriating Dantilion using mirror magic on a mirror, we're only attacking ourselves. Spin that around. This is going to lead to the path of Solomon's wisdom. Now, the journey of this individual is going to be one with psychological mastery. To wield the power of Dantilion responsibly requires the wisdom of Solomon. Not something you're going to read in a book. This is actual channeling energies. This is next level stuff. You will not find this stuff in a book anywhere. Actually, half of this stuff, once you get to a certain level, you're not going to find in a book. It's going to be a natural inclination. Now, you're going to need to learn to command your own inner demons, represented by the powerful primal energies of Lilith and Mars, rather than allowing them to run rampant. So it's kind of like controlling self, containing self, mastering self, not worrying about what they're doing or how they're at or where they're at or who, what, when, there, why. You know what I mean? It's minding our own business. Self. 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 This process is going to involve deep self-honesty, facing their own shadows, and choosing to use their gifts for truth and transformation rather than manipulation. That's a no-no for any spiritual practitioner. Even warlocks and sorcerers understand the repercussions of these things. That's why they get other people, idiots, to do that work for them. They literally have some fugazi wannabe to do these things. Now, the ultimate reckoning is going to come in the most profound manner. The profound reckoning for this individual is going to be to realize that the outside world is a perfect reflection of the inner state. If you see shit, you feel shit, you're probably thinking shit, you might be shit. Fix it. Don't be ashamed. We all go through a stage. It's growing from it. It's like being buried, but not dying, and just using that soil to grow from. Now, the conflicts and betrayals that you're going to face externally are simply the Hexenspiegel reflecting the unintegrated psychic energy within. So it's like, if you put somebody through a bunch of BS for no reason, you're going to end up going through that at some point. Let's just hope your resilience and your gracefulness can flow through it like some of the other people may or may not have. But again, this involves true mastery of self, not concern of others. This is going to be achieved not by controlling others, but by mastering the self. That's all I have for you guys today. Hopefully you found it interesting. I'll talk to you later.